go, revving up to 5 red lights now, and it's lights out, and away we go. And it's a strong start from Leclerc, who starts on pole position. Can he hold it into turn 1? He does by a long way as we go down the field there. Is that Alexander Albon, who's qualified very well. Verstappen had a horrible qualifying after he had issues in qualifying with his car. It's actually Albon here there in P4. Vettel going very close to Lewis Hamilton. Now Vettel going alongside Hamilton. Down the straight we can see Hamilton is on the medium tires and Vettel is on the softs. So the Ferrari's looking very strong in this race with the long straights, but you can see Vettel just about on the outside. They're still side by side. These two battling for second place as Leclerc just shoots off into the distance. And Vettel gets just about out in front, and there he goes up into second place. Great job from Sebastian Vettel to take second place. Here comes Lewis Hamilton with the slipstream to come back on Sebastian Vettel. Here he goes, he has a look. He's going back on Vettel. Vettel is blocking every which way Hamilton goes. Now here goes Vettel alongside Hamilton. Vettel's later on the brakes. Hamilton's going to go round the outside there. He's going to get the better exit. Even on these harder tires, he's very much keeping up, especially in the corners. The Mercedes is very good in those corners. Now you can see into this next one. Hamilton's later on the brakes. Vettel holding it on the outside. These two world champions going at it. Blow for blow. This is exactly what we want to see, but Leclerc is pulling away as they continue to go side by side, but Vettel comes out in front as they go through the S's. You can see as we go down the field, Ocon is in front of Ricciardo. Great start of the season for him. In the third race, he's once again beating his teammates. That's Kimi Raikkonen doing a decent job in front of Gasly, and then it's Verstappen. Here we go, on board with Max Verstappen's opening lap. He started almost in last place because of engine problems in qualifying. Here he goes. On the inside, he has to go very slowly, and that's Magnussen and Giovinazzi who make the overtake on him. That is Kimi Raikkonen going very close to Verstappen. Now they do make contact a couple times. And again they make contact. And now we can see going past is the Haas of Romain Grosjean, and then the Williams of George Russell, who makes contact with which Latifi to just send it down the inside. That's 2 overtakes and made it to the corner. Trying to hold it on the outside of Russell. It hasn't quite worked there. He does have to back off a little bit. And he does. Russell holds his place. Now here goes Verstappen. He's on much softer compound of tire. He's going to overtake Latifi easily down this straight. Here he comes on Russell. You can see he's activated the overtake button. And flying past Russell, he goes. And now a very long straight in the Red Bull. And then he sends it from a very long way back on Romain Grosjean into the hairpin. They do make contact, but Max is just about trying to get in front, and he does make it work. Very aggressive move by him, but I don't think Grosjean was expecting it. Grosjean's going to come back into Max's later on the brakes. Holding it around the outside, nearly hitting the wall on the left. Trying to give Grosjean as much space as he can there. Here he is coming onto the back of Pierre Gasly. Now we go back on board with Sebastian Vettel, who's lost a lot of time to his teammate there, but he has actually finally overtaken Lewis Hamilton properly. Albon is trying to get past Hamilton now as he is on a softer compound of tire in that Red Bull. Albon has had a tough start of this season. He's really trying to prove himself. And then Bottas is behind him. He's lost a place because of that. He's actually on the hard tire there. Hamilton's gone for the mediums. I'm not sure why Bottas has gone on the hards. I guess he was just not confident in his pace. Or, sorry, in the tire wear. You can see Vettel is now pulling that gap to Hamilton. Quite nicely, for that matter. Because of those softer tires. He does lose the back end a little bit there, does he? Here comes Hamilton. He's just a bit too far back. The slipstream is taking effect, but it's not quite enough. Albon's closer to Hamilton. Hamilton is to Vettel. Could Albon possibly challenge for a podium here? These Mercedes are struggling in this opening stint. They are going to come back in that next stint. But I don't know if they're going to be able to make up all the time, especially to Leclerc, who has just pulled a massive gap on these guys. Good 3 seconds now. That's Bottas is actually under threat from Esteban Ocon right now, who once again is showing his skills behind the wheel. It seems over 2 years that he's been gone, he has learned a lot. and he is beating Ricciardo. Ricciardo's still doing a decent job holding it behind his teammate. That's Kvyat up ahead of Stroll, and Perez is also in front of Stroll. Then it's the two McLarens, who are actually pretty close to the back. They are struggling for pace here. I don't know if they're having straight line problems, or if the McLaren is just not suited to this track, or if the drivers are just struggling here, because they are really struggling. That's Leclerc, who's got a good gap to Vettel. And this battle for the lead is getting more and more interesting, or at least the battle for third, as the two Ferraris seem to be just shooting off into the distance from Hamilton. And I think Hamilton will now be regretting his choice to go on those medium tires. We're on board with Hamilton in third. Albon in fourth, trying to get that podium. This will be his best chance. Red Bull did struggle here in qualifying, especially for Max, who actually only got one lap in, and it wasn't very good. Here goes Albon. See, a bit of rain, actually. Was that rain on the camera? Either way, Albon goes for it on Hamilton with the DRS, with the straight line speed. He's just about got, he has got it. He is up in a third place. Goes Alexander Albon. And now we look back, and that's Sergio Perez going down the inside. And now let's look at a replay of that overtake. We can see Ricciardo actually did overtake Ocon, and then down the inside, two overtakes in one. Kvyat and Ocon goes. Sergio Perez even trying to make a move on Ricciardo. He doesn't actually pull it off on Ricciardo, but a great one. Ocon is dropping off after what we said was a great start to this race and to his season. He is dropping off to this race. Look at how close he goes. Oh, he makes contact with Kvyat. Has been locking up absolutely everywhere. Great racing here in the midfield. Ocon has now lost a lot of time to his teammate Daniel Ricciardo. He's been trying to beat just to impress his team. As we go down the field, Gasly is actually quite down the field. They back on board with Charles Leclerc there. Turn one, we can see that it's Vettel in P2. He's trying to chase his teammate down. Quite working. Bottas, Ricciardo, and Perez has been absolutely on fire this race. And is now chasing down Ricciardo. That's Stroll, who's some ways behind his teammate. See Verstappen going wide there. He's really struggling with this track, as well as starting so low. He's really pushing, but it isn't really quite working for him. You can see Leclerc just holding that lead. Maybe Vettel's catching him, but even if he is, I don't think he'll have enough laps. Goes Leclerc. That Ferrari is going to be so quick in a straight line. And there's Hamilton going for it on Albon. He does lock up a little bit. Albon sliding. This is very close. Hamilton makes it work. He makes it bomb. And he's trying his hardest to make these tires work so that once he goes onto the softer compound, he can really be much quicker than Albon and trying to hold that podium. Albon touches the wall there. Look at this racing. Through the S's, neither of them were giving up. Now we go on a replay to see how Daniel Ricciardo actually legitimately overtook Valtteri Bottas. He's going to take to the outside of it, and he actually makes a move before the corner. Great driving by Daniel Ricciardo to actually overtake the Mercedes of Valtteri Bottas. You can see Magnussen and Raikkonen going very close, and just behind there we can see Verstappen making an overtake on Gasly. He's been stuck behind him for a couple laps now. Here they go side by side. Verstappen actually ends up on the inside there. Now we're going with our onboard replay, and we could really see Max just sent it from a long way back on Gasly. Now we go back on board with Raikkonen, who hits the wall there. That is some very aggressive driving by everyone through the S's today. And he has dropped a place to the Haas of, I believe that's Romain Grosjean. Ricciardo is legitimately beating Bottas right now. Leclerc continues to hold that lead from Vettel. Then it's Hamilton, then Albon, then Ricciardo. Does look like he might actually be pulling away from Bottas. So Ricciardo, in the first stage of this race, didn't seem too quick. He was actually behind his teammate, and now he's absolutely flying. Just exactly what we want to see from Ricciardo for a long time now. Albon. Losing that place to Hamilton has really cost him because I don't think the softs are going to be that quick anymore at this stage of the race. Here it comes Albon. He's going to try it on Hamilton. No, he's not. He's just a bit too far back. Hamilton, did Hamilton actually lock up there? Into the corner, Bottas had a look, but he locked up. And that's actually allowed Perez to go around the outside. Great move by Sergio. As we keep scrolling through the field, we can see Verstappen has actually overtaken both Raikkonen and Grosjean there. And that's Hamilton holding it in front of Albon. Very nicely, has to be said. And Bottas, those mistakes are costing him. And I think it was just a mistake to put him on the hards in general. He basically has less pace than the midfield runners at this stage of the race because those tires are just so slow. That's Leclerc is holding it on Vettel. There's Albon, he's got DRS, he's closer this time. Surely he'll make this one work. Here he goes, to the outside of Hamilton. On the outside, who's going to be latest on the brakes? Albon's going to be later, but he does lock up. That's all Hamilton told it on the inside, but it's Albon with the better exit. Grippier tires. And that's giving him a better exit there. Very nicely done from Albon. And he locked up again there. Albon and Hamilton have crashed many times before. Well, a couple times before, but at the moment, doesn't look like they're going to be crashing in this race. Although they've gotten very close to crashing many times. Now, Gasly under threat from the Haas's. Gasly's been struggling for pace today, unlike his teammate, who's actually had some very decent pace. You can see Vettel is not really catching Leclerc. The gap is very steady. You can see it does look like it's going to be a clear Ferrari 1-2. At least Leclerc's going to win this race. Who knows what Hamilton's going to be like in the second stages of this race, but him battling with Albon is just costing him so much time, and him dropping down to P4. You can see just how far back he is, and I don't think he's going to get Albon this time. These mediums just don't have enough pace, and despite him actually getting Albon last time, which was a big surprise, it doesn't look like he's going to get Albon this time. He's just a bit too far back. Well, look at how much he's gained there. Albon surely made a mistake because now Hamilton is all over him. We go on board with Lewis Hamilton. Here he goes with the DRS. He's so close to Albon, so close to the wall. Here he goes. He has the inside. He has the Mercedes engine. To the outside. He's made it work before the braking zone. And Albon, who probably made a mistake, has cost him big time. We can see Perez has caught up to Ricciardo there, and Ocon's losing time to them, and now losing time to Kvyat and Stroll. So Ocon had a great start of this race, is now possibly dealing with tire issues. Here comes Gasly on Verstappen. He actually brakes later, but Max holds place brilliantly. You can see further back there, Kimi and Grosjean battling hard, and then it's Bottas. Bottas has stopped early, despite being on the hardest compound of tire. He's the one who stopped first in the entire race, and that's Leclerc in the pits. The pits he goes, he puts on the mediums. This is looking like a very good win for him. He's actually going to come out. I believe that's in front of Verstappen. On board with Vettel right now is the current race leader on that one set of softs. If there's a chance for him to push, now is that time. Possibly on the older soft tires, he can pull away from Leclerc, or at least catch Leclerc during the pit stops. I don't know if he will, although Leclerc's going to be caught in traffic. That is Carlos Sainz, I believe. I do see a few raindrops. Just look at the loss of back end. Losing the back end there, Charles Leclerc. That's going to cost him more time. This is Vettel's chance. If there's a chance to take the lead, now's the time. As Leclerc's just stuck behind him, and he loses the back end very aggressively there. Now Leclerc on the back of Lando there? Is it Sainz? I'm not quite sure, but either way, he goes flying past that straight with the Ferrari power, with the DRS and the fresh tires, and it's not even any competition there. Leclerc has got the pace. Now, Leclerc is really going to push. On this undercut, he's going to try and pull away from Vettel. Vettel was some ways back from Leclerc, but Leclerc did get caught in traffic, and Vettel's going to be on that softer set of tires. Perhaps he can really push. And Leclerc seems to be struggling for grip a little bit there. And that's Vettel coming out, not out the pits, but he is finished his pit stop. Where is... No, sorry, he's coming into the pits. He's coming in for his pit stop as we scroll through the field now. Ricciardo still holding it in front of Perez quite well there. Just how much longer can he hold it in front? That is Albon pitting, I believe, and that's Vettel in the pits. And you can see Leclerc, I believe, it's already past the pit lane, and it's not even close. That is Bottas, I believe. So I know it's Hamilton. Hamilton's already pit. For the soft tires, he pit with Vettel. Despite being on a harder compounded tire, they actually pit on the same lap. And now Albon, there's no way he's going to catch Hamilton. And that is Verstappen going side by side with Bottas, I believe, and just losing the car. Because Max is actually not pit yet, despite starting on the softs. He's holding this out because there was forecasted rain for the later stages of this race. And maybe he's trying to wait until they can put on the intermediates. See, a bit of a camera glitch there, sorry. As Vettel is there in second place there, but now Hamilton's going to be chasing him down on a softer set of tires. He's not as far back, I think, as we might have thought, but he's still some ways back. You can see all the black lines from the people locking up into the hairpin earlier in this race. I'm not sure if Hamilton's going to be able to close that gap now. It's a big gap to Vettel. He's going to have to go with some proper hammer time if he wants to get Vettel. See, look at how much Hamilton's caught up that lap. He's absolutely flying now. He's pulled so much on Albon. Looks like Bottas, too, is catching Albon with that undercut on them and the softer compounded tire. He's really going to be pushing as well. Looks like Mercedes might have actually played the strategy perfectly and could be going for a 2-3 in this race. Possibly, if Bottas can catch Vettel. Actually, that's a bit much, I have to say. Maybe a 2-4, which isn't going to be as good as the Ferrari 1-3, but certainly it's going to be better than what we expected in this race, which was a Mercedes not even finishing on a podium, as Albon was actually in front of Hamilton for about a lap earlier in this race. But now look at this. Hamilton's caught getting closer to Vettel. I believe he's within DRS range now. Look at that. He's got so much pace on those softs. Look at how much he's pulled on Albon. And there he does have DRS. Not going to be enough to actually get close enough to Vettel to make an overtake, but he is closer to Vettel than he was before. It seems the softs weren't working so well for Albon, or even so much for the Ferraris, but they are working better for the Mercedes than they did with any other car. The Mercedes is the fastest car. That cannot go unnoticed in this season. It's been pretty clear the Mercedes has been the quickest car, even though Max did take the first 2 race wins. Either way, back to this race, you can see Hamilton is really caught up to Vettel. Look how much he just gains in these corners. He's absolutely flying, Hamilton. And looks well on the way to take second place very soon. The question is, it's more a matter of... it's just a matter of time, really, before he gets Vettel. got the DRS, just not close enough to make an overtake. Looks like Bottas might have actually caught up to Albon further back, but that's not relevant right now as the two world champions are going to go toe-to-toe just like they did before. Vettel loses the back end very aggressively there, making yet another mistake under pressure from Lewis Hamilton, and this will be an easy move now, surely. Before the DRS, and Hamilton's going to make this work, and now he's got the DRS, and now it's going to be an easy overtake up in a second place. He's going to go hunt down Leclerc. I don't think he's going to catch him, though. Leclerc's just way too far up the road. And, of course, Vettel holding Hamilton up. Does look like it's going to be a Ferrari 1-3 today. Look how much Hamilton's already pulled on Vettel. It's not even close between those two, and if Leclerc is the same pace as Vettel, I do think if Hamilton might actually have a chance at chasing down Charles Leclerc. Look at that, we can see there's a bit more rain on the camera now. Could this be helping the Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton? Maybe the Ferraris on the harder compound of tire might be struggling in these colder, slightly more wet conditions. It's not wet enough for intermediates, but these are the wet conditions we were talking about earlier in this race. And this is why Max Verstappen did in fact choose to stay out, and he still hasn't actually pit. And he's pulled so much on Vettel. Looks like Bottas, maybe at the very end of this race, might actually have a chance at Vettel, because these softs are working so well for the Mercedes right now. Bottas is going to have to really, really push if he wants that chance. That's Albon there. He's lost a place to Bottas. And look at this train Verstappen's created. And that's actually Perez who's gone off in the distance. And that's Esteban Ocon down the inside of Max Verstappen. Verstappen's lost part of his front wing if we look carefully. Yes, he has. And that means Perez just gone off in the distance. Another thing to mention is that Ocon has somehow overtaken Ricciardo, and they make contact there. What is Max doing? He's just trying to defend for his life, but he does look like he's actually let Ocon through there. And now, here goes Daniel Ricciardo, their former teammate. Ricciardo seems to have had a lot more pace. Look at that, there's almost 3 wide there. Down the inside goes Ricciardo, down the inside goes Stroll. Around the outside now. But either way, you can see Ricciardo is quicker than Ocon. And he's really pushing. He is not happy he's lost that place to Esteban, and now somehow Verstappen's held Stroll behind him. You can see Ricciardo's on the back of Ocon. He's just a bit too far back, I think. Oh, maybe not. He makes an almighty Ricciardo dive bomb. Here it goes to the inside. Oh, look at that! And then Ricciardo goes to the outside. Ocon locks up. This is great racing. Can Ricciardo make this work? Round the outside. What a move by Daniel Ricciardo. Ocon blocked him off. Ricciardo to fake to the other side. Then Ocon locked up. Great, great, great racing. What racing between the two runners? You can see Hamilton is now catching Leclerc. Look at the speed he's caught him. There's only a few laps left in this race, so I'm not sure if he can catch Leclerc in time. I think he might actually catch Leclerc in time, but it'll be around the final lap, meaning Leclerc does have a chance to defend, and that's not going to help his cause, because that is a massive tank slapper from the Ferrari. Somehow he saved it, and he saved it brilliantly, may I add. And look at how much Hamilton's pulled from Vettel there. Same for Leclerc. Vettel's been struggling in this race, and you can see Bottas continues to chase down Vettel, but either way, look at this! Hamilton has actually caught up to Leclerc, and there's still quite like a few more laps left in this race. I thought he would have caught up much later, but no, in these corners he's just gaining so much. Also, these conditions are suiting, I think, Lewis Hamilton and that Mercedes very, very well. You see Ricciardo's now pulling away from Esteban Ocon. There's not really much surprise there. Ricciardo seems to have had much better pace. That's Hamilton. He's closing up so much under this braking zone. I imagine he's going to gain possibly up to 3-4 tenths just in one corner alone. That's how much speed he has. Okay, maybe more like 2 tenths, but the pace he's got in this stage of the race is undeniably just the fastest car on track right now. I can't believe this strategy the Mercedes have gone with seems to have actually worked, and it's worked brilliantly for both Mercedes. Even Bottas, who didn't seem to have too much pace yesterday, seems to have a lot more pace today. You can see he's all over the back of Leclerc now. And now, here he goes, down the straight. He's in the slipstream, but he's not close enough to make that move. I can't believe Hamilton has caught up to Leclerc in that short amount of time. And look at how much he's pulled in Vettel, and even Bottas looks like he's caught up to Vettel now. Vettel might not even get a podium. This could be a 1-3 for Mercedes. A race that looked like an easy 1-2 for Ferrari at the opening stages of this race. Maybe even a 1-3 at worst. Seems to have actually gone into Mercedes' favor. As here comes Hamilton. He's just a bit too far back. Ferrari does have the best engine. They have the best straight line speed, and that is helping them massively at the moment. Here he is on the back of Leclerc. Here he goes on Charles. This is it. This could be the lead of the race. Around the outside, he's done it before the corner. And the fans are going crazy for him. There he is, Lewis Hamilton, who was 4th at one point of this race, has now gone up into the lead, and look at how much he's already pulled. And now Vettel's going to have to defend hard, but defending seems to be very difficult for the Ferraris because of that long straight. It's just so easy with the DRS, and they exit the Mercedes, get off these corners. It's just unmatched because Mercedes, of course, is a great car, and of course those tires are also going to be working a lot better for them. And I believe Ricardo actually lost quite a lot of time to his teammate there. Interesting stuff. As we continue to go down the field, we can see now on board with Gasly going alongside. I believe that's Kevin Magnussen, who's going to be later on the brakes. Looks like Magnussen is later on the brakes. And he's held it round the outside. Great move by the Haas.
I feel like consistency was probably the key to
and this is it, the final lap.
And then there's being quick lap after lap after lap.
End of the race, and that's that. Lewis Hamilton wins here in Vietnam, and it was a truly spectacular win for him. And he's waited for it well, since Bahrain and Australia. He did not seem to have the same pace as his teammate, but finally he's won the race, and Bottas has done pretty well there. And now we can see Max is the only person actually racing right now as he decides to go on the inters. It hasn't rained nearly enough for them to start working. It is raining, but the inters are simply not good enough at this stage of the race as everybody else decided to stay on dries, and it makes sense. The inters were just not good enough at this stage of the race.
Let's see what effects this
Great win by Hamilton, though.
On the driver's standings. Well, the gap at the top of the championship.
And now we go on board with the poor Max here. He's just struggling. And it's been a hard race. He still has the broken front wing, and it's been a tough race for him. The championship leader, may I add, has had possibly the worst race of his career.
You can't argue that he's a driver deserving of his reputation.
It's time to see how things are shaping up.